One tree was moving. Every other tree was perfectly still. There was no wind, no storm, no explanation. If you saw this, you'd probably assume it was an animal, or maybe another worker. That's exactly what 19-year-old Edmond Cardoso thought at first. Because hidden beneath that tree was something impossible, something that should not have been there. And within minutes, Edmond would come face to face with it. At first, Edmond couldn't understand what he was looking at. It wasn't an animal, it wasn't a machine, and it certainly wasn't supposed to be there. Beneath the shaking tree, something was hovering above the ground. The object was roughly 6 feet across, oval-shaped, almost like a giant metallic egg. Its surface reflected sunlight so intensely that Edmond later said it hurt his eyes to look at it. But despite its size, it made almost no sound. Most people would have run. Edmond didn't. He stepped closer, then closer again, until he was standing only a few feet away, and that's when he noticed something else, something attached to the top of the craft. As Edmond moved closer, new details began to emerge. Mounted on top of the object was a strange mechanical structure, a metallic cylinder, connected to an inverted cone, slowly rotating counterclockwise, as if performing a task. Then, something happened. A sharp metallic crack echoed through the orchard. The sound was sudden, violent, unnatural, and before Edmond could react, a door began to open. The door opened completely, but there was nothing inside. No lights, no controls, no visible interior, only darkness. A darkness so deep that Edmond couldn't see beyond it. For several seconds, nothing happened. Edmond waited, watching, listening. Then he saw movement. Something was inside, and it was coming out. Then the shape moved, not quickly, not aggressively, slowly, deliberately, as if it had all the time in the world. At first, Edmond couldn't understand what he was seeing. It looked human, and yet it didn't. The being was small, much smaller than a man. Yet somehow its presence felt enormous, and Edmond suddenly realized he was no longer looking at a machine. He was looking at its occupant. Then Edmond noticed something strange. The being wasn't walking, its legs weren't moving, and yet it was getting closer. According to Edmond, it wasn't taking steps. Instead, it appeared to be standing on something, something transparent, something almost invisible. Now it was only a few feet away, close enough to see, close enough to study, close enough to fear. And that was the moment fear finally took over. Edmond turned and ran, not because the being attacked him, not because it threatened him, but because every instinct in his body was telling him to get away. As he ran, Edmond looked back, just once, to see if the being was following him. It wasn't. The strange figure remained exactly where it was, watching. But Edmond wasn't taking any chances. He kept running. He found the farmer's wife and another worker, desperately trying to explain what he had just seen. A short time later, they returned to the orchard, to the exact spot where the encounter had happened. The craft was gone. The being was gone. Nothing remained. As if neither of them had ever been there. The owner of the farm questioned Edmond carefully, every detail, every movement, every description. But the more Edmond spoke, the more convinced the farmer became. The case would later be investigated. Witness statements were collected, questions were asked, reports were written. And Edmond never changed his story, not once. Investigators found no physical evidence, no debris, no footprints, no trace of the strange visitor. But investigators found something equally important. No evidence of a hoax, no reason to believe Edmond had invented the story. And so, the mystery remains.